Inner will, I would like to share a quote from Bernard Graves, "The role of hands in educating the will. Hands are unique to human beings unlike animals. The hands have the capacity to do and create. Using the hands productively has a profound effect on the soul. Working with hands gives us a sense of purpose and inspiration, and hands involve the senses and takes a person through a process from start to finish." Today's podcast is about inner will and what it means from different perspectives and the importance of understanding how it affects our daily life. I have some interesting insights and tasks for you at the end of the show, and do make sure you listen all the way through. Will is symbolically expressed to tell about the power of habits, procrastination, inertia, how we make our decisions, execute work or do things, expressions in any form, courage, delayed gratification, self-control, karma yoga, karma sadhana, or a sense of duty, and so on. There are many definitions of will, and for the purpose of today's talk and understanding of will, I would like to describe will as the inner impulse which causes us to act, to change our thoughts into action, where action could be the bodily action of doing, expressing through words, art and speech, to organize and plan, to make a decision, to learn something new, to stop a habit, to start a habit, to resist something, and so on. The inner impulse is the command given to our body to carry out a particular thought by doing something, that is to start, or not doing something, that is to stop. To become aware of this subtle thought guiding our body's action or the way our body responds is what this talk is about. Let me share a story to express this concept of will. For the talk's purpose, let's assume your mind is the master and your body is its slave. Imagine on a quiet, lazy afternoon, you're reading a good book lying on the couch in your apartment when you hear this rattling, irritating noise persisting from your balcony garden outside. Immediately you know the reason behind this noise, since only a day back you had left a plastic container post your gardening work. And this was moving about in strong winds and hitting against things and railings and making this irritating, rackety noise. The first thought that came to you was, I need to step out and stop this irritating noise. And another thought closely followed and said to you, don't bother now, you can get up later and sort out this noise. Even better would be as soon as you finish this book, since you had only a couple of chapters remaining. But the noise kept coming back again and again within a short span, and this time you thought, okay, you will get up as soon as you finish this chapter and not wait for the end of the book to sort out this noise. The body spoke back again with a better reasoning that this time it's only a chapter you were talking about, not the whole book, and that's okay. Well, you listened and conceded to the body's demand. Mind you, all this is happening even though you may or may not be fully aware of the inner will workings. But next time such or similar thing happens where the inner desire and the body contradict each other, then do become aware and recognize this is happening to you. And also become aware of the body stalling it for later. Once you strengthen your will, it will become very easy for you to take charge of your life, and you would literally be commanding your body to work in line with your inner mind. And next time such a thing happens, you should become aware and say, not after this chapter, but right now I want you to get up immediately, go out and sort this noisemaker. And when you finish this task, you can return to your book. This is a simple example of inertia, how our will works and how to take charge of it. Of course, you should be saying all this internally in your mind, else you may get your family and friends worried. Today, our body no longer listens to us and seems to have a mind of its own and keeps counter-commanding or ordering what your inner desire tells. And your body replies either with lethargy, logic, negotiations, or even some good deal-making with ourselves. This is the world of procrastination, where on many occasions we spend time only ideating and not doing anything real, or dwell in pure lethargic environment by living only in our heads, sometimes only in our hearts. Keep pushing things for the future or making excuses for ourselves on why we must not do it now and why doing it later is better. We cut deals with our body in a way, negotiate with it, coax it to do, literally plead with it, please can you do? Rarely do we command it or order it or expect it to be done, and this is one of the biggest challenges of our generation. Lack of will also shows up as a difficulty within ourselves in kicking out more serious and dangerous habits such as smoking, alcohol, drugs, where our body simply refuses to listen to our commands, and in a way, body has hijacked the mind. I can't imagine what would happen on a ship where every time as a ship captain, I gave an order and no one would follow it. Absurdity and accidents for sure. Our world and people haven't always lived with such weak will. There was a time even few decades back where the will of most people was very strong. We only need to reflect back on our grandparents and parents and see how they lived, did things back then, or even in their later years. However, post-urbanization of people, that is moving to the cities more rapidly since the 70s, the will consciousness began its descent, and in the last decade or two, the will forces has rapidly declined and degraded. There are many reasons. Some are easy to spot as the changing upscale lifestyles leading to a declining chore culture and increasing maid and paid helpers coming into our lives. This, coupled with lack of movement in our bodies by being constantly in front of digital media, technology, virtual online shopping, has made our bodies get used to so much of lethargic toxicity that they have gained complete control over our inner desires, and in a way taken charge of our lives, control of our bodies, and also the freedom of our limbs has become restricted and almost lost in a way. Our inner will has lost control over its body, and this can be seen more evidently in young people around us. Sometimes even in ourselves or the struggles of older folks. Not as bad as others, as their core will is still strong from their childhood days. In general, it has become a chronic problem affecting family and working life. Dictionary describes will as the mental faculty by which one deliberately chooses or decides a course of action. Another definition says diligent purposefulness or determination of an athlete to win. A third definition, self-control, self-discipline, and the will to overcome addiction. If you were asked to describe the number of types of sound or say smell you're aware of, you would probably name a few like sweet, pungent, fishy, chemically, and probably some others. They say if a dog could speak, it would probably describe a few hundred or so. Such is the depth of field of these senses. Will or will forces or inner will is a sense which we can become aware of and seems to have different shades as well, whether we are aware of it or not. For this talk, I would like to bring your attention to the three realms of will. 1. Body will, the more commonly understood will form and closely connected with the dictionary meanings. 2. Feeling will, will which works on our feelings through speech and expression, as there is an effort or action required even when we write a mail or a book. Certain courage required to express freely or speak even in a conversation, let alone a difficult conversation. 3. Thinking will, will which works on our thought, as a mental effort is needed even to think, analyze, choose, decide, plan, organize, read, write, or learn. There is will even here. Will is a muscle of sorts and needs to be worked regularly, if not daily, and probably till our last breath. It gets exhausted from time to time and needs to be replenished well to recharge itself. The question is, why bother with strengthening your will, or why must we work on ourselves in this regard? The reasons affect our life because the lack of will means not following our inner impulses, and the body doesn't follow your commands, and at worst even hijacks your will. Some examples of weaker will: keeping shopping for the last minute, not watering the plants, not changing the light bulb, my favorite. I remember how in the earlier times, if the bulb was fused, the older generation folks would immediately go and get the bulb and change it. Later, in the more recent generations, we would probably stall it for the evening or next day. And the younger generation today would probably never do it at all. Not sleeping or waking up on time that you decide. Not being able to exercise regularly or exercise at all. Not following through on your professional work. Not having that difficult conversation. Not being able to write or send that mail. Not calling someone as expected. Not able to plan or organize a trip or event. Not being able to make a decision requires effort as well. Not following through on your words or keeping your word. And basically stalling as much as possible for as long as you can, giving as many good excuses, all of which sounds very good and convincing to us. I have shared many examples so that through these images we can gain a perspective on will from different angles. Procrastinators look for distractions and excuses, and they are not born, they become. Usually forged by their environment, including one's parents, teachers, guardians, bosses, employers, friends, their lifestyle and social settings. Different people suffer from different realms of will, and today it is quite common to observe many people suffering from body and feeling will. This lack of will is not restricted to any particular region, country, community, but like a virus, it can affect anyone. And if you are not fully aware of its dangers, a person can become severely crippled in their will, which in turn can cause havoc in a person's life by affecting their personal life, professional life, circle of friends, their lifestyle, and all of them going downhill unless their close ones wake up to their situation and help them to work regularly on their will, or they themselves become aware and start to work on their will. Will also differs in quality, quantity, type, its force across different generations, across different parenting and teaching styles. Depends whether they are from a rural or urban background, their lifestyle settings, nature of one's work, and so on. Will forces are best cultivated in the early years, that is 0 to 7 years. If one misses the boat, then all is not lost. It just becomes a little more effortful as the years pass to change the core will, but not impossible. Relatively easy change is still possible under 21 years of age. After that, the effort and result doesn't necessarily match each other. What this means is that adults will need to put in a substantial more effort to see little changes in their will. Although on the bright side, once a certain momentum in will is gained, then such change becomes easier. Will has a spiritual element and signifies the ego. A healthy will is also a healthy ego, and vice versa. It is signified by the image of a person standing tall and firm and looking straight ahead. The more balanced we are in our egos, the more easier it is to follow through on our words. Will brings its own joy, focus, persistence, courage, and completeness to humans. The more we can work on strengthening your will, the easier it becomes to do things, the easier it becomes to overcome inertia, the easier to change ourselves, the easier to stop procrastinating, where the body starts listening to us and doing what we tell it to do. Let's say you're not an early riser and tell yourself that you want to wake up at 5 a.m. from tomorrow. The first thing you will feel is resistance, excuses, repulsion, and any other excuses you can think of that makes perfect sense to you not to wake up at 5 a.m. The body doesn't want to work or listen to its master, your inner will, and it's replying back that it doesn't want to do it and giving you all the reasons on why you can't or shouldn't be waking up at 5 a.m. Stop and watch yourself here for a moment. Your body is not willing or doesn't want to listen to you. Who is really in charge here and who commands who? Will is only feeling made active, and feeling is repressed will. Imagine your child falls on the ground. If we closely observe yourselves, your thought triggers a feeling to step out to help your child, which in turn makes you overcome your inertia and help the child irrespective of what the body tells you. In another situation, if there was no feelings evoked, then you may not readily help or reluctantly help if the child is not your own or that of a stranger. Of course, there are many variables, ifs and buts, and we may still end up helping this child. We can truly understand the nature of feeling will and thought will only when we have penetrated the nature of body will. If you understood this, then you have grasped the concept of will at its core level. How do you strengthen your will? We must first work at the body level. We must learn to move, to act out our instinct, to draw inspiration, to imitate those around us for their abilities, skills and character. Then we start working at the feeling level, where we have strong drives that makes us inquisitive, imaginative, wanting to learn, to improve, to pursue a goal or to make an impact on others and so on. Finally, at the thought level, we work on the spiritual forces, that is intuitive forces, to guide us to a greater purpose in life by being in harmony with our true nature, and this in a way transforms us. At this level, thought will works on the feeling will and the body will to transform them to follow your greater purpose. If the inner will in any of the three realms is weaker and not aligned with each other, then it creates strong earthly desires, doubts, confusion, frustration, inertia, unhappiness over higher desires and life's purposes. Fortunately, there is a way to work on your will. It's simple to do but not easy to follow through. It takes a longer time, but the key thing is success is more certain and sustainable in the long run. You may even surprise yourself and others with your changed behaviors once you strengthen your will. Why do we need to strengthen our will? As a recap, 1. To overcome inertia in general, change your thought into action. 2. To do things you have been postponing, something at home or work or calling someone. 3. To create and sustain great habits. 4. To delay gratification to kick out bad habits. 5. To become better at organizing, planning, decision making. 6. Correct imbalances within ourselves, overdoing something or neglecting some other aspect of our lives. 7. To help to manage pitfalls like aggression, breakdowns, emotional stability, stress, breaking rules and so on. 8. To follow through on your words, to keep your words firstly to yourself and also to others. 9. To cultivate self-confidence, gratitude and courage. 10. Strengthen your will to make your lives more purposeful and successful. Research has observed that every major personal problem has an element of self-control failure, in other words, failure of will. If we wish to understand the will and make it stronger in us, we must first seek to experience it in the realm of doing. I've got a task for you to do. Find a place and time where you can sit quietly in the corner of your house, the terrace or the balcony, where no one can disturb you for the next 30 minutes or so. Do not meditate or close your eyes. Rather sit comfortably and relax into normal breathing. After a relaxed couple of minutes, you can do these 3 reviews. 1. Review any recent event where you procrastinated or showed inertia and reflect on how your thought, feeling and body behaved. 2. Review your child's or a close family member or a friend's will forces in the 3 realms. That is, how are they in the doing of things, expressing and thinking? Not in a judgmental way, rather in an observant way, like you would observe a stone without emotions. 3. Review your personal and professional habits. Maybe 1 good habit and 1 bad habit for each category, again with regard to will. If it interests you, you can also take part in Strengthening Your Will 21-day challenge, which will give you techniques and tasks to strengthen your will. Please ask for the link to be shared on WhatsApp. To summarize, I'd like to share another quote for the ending. We often equate will to moving of our limbs. If that was educating the will, then just physical exercises would suffice. But behind the outer activity of our limbs, there is an inner activity of our limbs. There is an inner activity of thoughts, desires, feelings, and motives. When we have to learn something new, like learning to swim, musical instrument, trying to change an old habit, we are challenged to exert an inner effort. The more difficult the challenge, the greater is the inner effort. Will, therefore, belongs to this inner activity behind the outer activity. It is the inner force in us that translates into an outer deed. When we observe this effort, we are no longer observing an outer reality but an inner one. Michael Howard, an author and educator. The objective of this podcast was 3 things. 1. To create an understanding and awareness of the will forces, what, why, and the how of it. 2. To become conscious on the nature of will, to become aware within ourselves and in others this inner activity of will. 3. To understand the need and importance to strengthen our will. Do remember, will is the greatest human strength individually and collectively. I am Captain Preetham Madhukar from Skills Beyond Education, signing off.